A Montreal activist recently returned from the Middle East. Ehab was on a Canadian boat, part of a mission to try and break Israel's blockade of the Gaza Strip. The boat was stopped on November the 4th by Israeli forces off the coast of Gaza in international waters. Lutaif and 26 other people from different countries were detained by Israel for a week or so. Ehab is back here in Canada, and he joins us in studio. So, okay, first off, set the stage for us. Why were you even there to begin with?
To bring the world's attention to the plight of the 1.5 million Palestinians who are living in Gaza in an open-air prison that have been collectively punished, and that is totally against international law. It's against human rights law. And the United Nations, once and again, even after the Palmer report, the United Nations Human Rights Council came out and said, no, this blockade is illegal and it's needless. So that's what we're trying to say. We're also trying to tell the people in Gaza that the world is not forgetting about them. That's another very important point as well for us.
You're very passionate about this. In fact, you were detained by Israel for a while as a result of what you did. Some folks out there are going to say you were needlessly provocative about what you did. How would you respond?
I would say that the blockade is very provocative, and we as citizens, as civilians, are not there to provoke one of the most ruthless armies in the world. We are there to make it a point. And yes, we are there to make a point that we are not forgetting about this, will not be quiet. If our Canadian government becomes an Israeli prop and just supports anything Israel does, we, citizens of Canada, will not take the same position. We will try our best with whatever limited resources we have to speak out and act as well, put our money where our mouth is.
How would you characterize the way Ottawa has been handling this?
Ridiculous, sad, and totally un-Canadian, really, if I want to put it that way. Because as we issued a press release, actually our colleagues here issued a press release while we were away, saying if Bird wants to just defend Israel, then he should resign as Canada's foreign minister and apply for Israeli ambassador in Canada.
You know what happened last year with the Turkish activists, several of whom were killed when there was a commando raid by Israelis forces on another boat trying to break the blockade. Were you concerned about your own personal safety?
Of course we were. We did our best to be well trained in non-violence, in non-provocation, and we made it very clear to the Israeli Navy when they contact us that we will not physically resist. We will not cooperate, but we will not physically resist. We're trying to secure the safety of all the civilians that were on both boats, and that was very clear to them. And still, they used taser, and still, when we refused to get off the boat and go onto Israeli soil, they carried us and forced us onto Israeli soil. There was violence used, but it was something we were prepared to have.
Yeah, so explain to me and the viewers now what exactly happened. So they came on the boat, they tried to get you to leave willingly, you didn't do that, so they forced you off the boat. You said to me that you weren't physically assaulted.
When they got on the boat, we told them, why are you spraying the boat with seawater? They had the water cannon spraying the boat. And we told them, this is very dangerous. You want us not to have a confrontation with you. We will just stay in the captain's cabin. Why are you spraying us? And I was outside of the cabin. I told them, why are you spraying us? And at that point, we were shouting back and forth at them. And they continued spraying us till they forced me, who was outside where they wanted us to be, into the cabin as well. So we were there. Then they boarded, and they boarded with machine guns, pointed at us. They boarded. One of their first people to board slipped and fell in the water that they created, the pool that they created of seawater. So this is the kind of situation they were creating. Also, all the commando unit that attacked us was lacking sleep. I think because they didn't know we were coming, they were surprised by us announcing ourselves on international waters. They very quickly assembled a unit, and that unit stayed in alert for 24 hours or so, and they were sleeping while they were guarding us after they took control of the boat. So it was really, they caused the danger, not us. We were very much controlled and very much relaxed. When they tried to force us outside of the captain's chamber, that's where we were surrounded by soldiers from both sides, and we said, we will stay here with the captain, and that's when they tasered David Heap, and I was holding hands with him, so I got the second charge. But the most problematic things we had were not physical. They were really the psychological torture and the lies they kept us in. I mean, we were saying while we were in prison that the only thing that's consistent is that they always lie to us. And imagine how strange it was when I come out and when I start getting newspapers, and the first thing I hear is that Sarkozy and Obama were talking about Netanyahu lying. I mean, it just made a connection to me that I didn't expect to see.
I want to thank you for coming in and sharing this story. Welcome back to Canada.
Thank you for having me, and I'm happy to be back in Canada.